Hello. 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 Check one. Hello. Hello. Check one, two, three. Hello. Mic check. Check. Hello. Hello. Check one. Check.
Hello, check. One.
A very warm good afternoon to one and all present here. We welcome our Dean Sir, Vice Principal Ma'am, MGMCRI. We also welcome all the organizing members of FDP. In collaboration with organized by Student Salatogenesis Committee, Department of Psychiatry, MGMCRI, and in collaboration with Department of Psychiatry, AIMS Kalyani. In yesterday's session, we had discussion about salatogenesis, how to promote health and well-being. We also had a discussion on impact of health in higher education and also various ways to promote health and well-being in academic institution. So the last two sessions are available on YouTube channel of SBV. So today's session will be on impact of computers, smartphones, and internet on health of students. This session will be taken by Dr. Vigneshwar, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychiatry, MGMCRI. Am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Pooja, you are audible.
Yes, audible.
Sir is currently Assistant Professor in Sir is currently Assistant Professor in Department of Psychiatry in MGMCRI. Sir has completed his MBBS from Sri Manakula Vinagar Medical College. He has done his post-graduation in MD in Psychiatry from JIPMER. Sir has won Best Postgraduate Research Paper Award, namely Professor Dr. V. Balan and Dr. D.S. Raju at state and zonal level. He has also co-authored the research paper which received the Bhagwat Award at national level. Sir has been a member of Indian Psychiatric Society, both at national and regional level. He was also ex-editor-in-chief in magazine of SBV Exclusive. Sir is also in charge of mental health helpline services, a part of telepsychiatry initiative of MGMCRI SBV. He is currently the joint secretary of SAF of MGMCRI. Sir's area of interest includes neurobiological aspect of psychiatry, behavioral addiction, and digital intervention in psychiatry, along with others. And he has also had national and international journal publications of 15 and 2 book chapters. Sir will be talking on impact of computers, smartphones, and internet on health of students. Over to you, sir.
Hope I am audible to the people online. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for such a warm welcome and good afternoon, everyone, to all those who are present physically as well as online. So, myself, I'm Dr. Vigneshwar, like introduced, and I want to speak about an interesting and quite an essential topic, namely the impact of computers, smartphones, and internet on the health of students. So, it will be discussed in the following outline. First, whenever we are facing an adversary or an enemy or a war or whatever, we need to know what they are capable of and what they are up to. So we need to understand how much reach there is technology in today's world, and especially with the younger generation, the good part, the bad part, and how to assimilate both and a way forward. And finally, a few concluding remarks. So technology in today's world. So what is it? To what level it has gone to? If you ask me, I would say it is inevitable. So without technology, I don't think we can even move an inch in these days. From starting to get up in the morning till you go to sleep, technology is there with you from start till the end. So technology has its roots deeply dwelled into our day-to-day activities. Like I mentioned, from waking up till you fall asleep, you get up with an alarm from your mobile phone, and then the last thing you see before sleeping is your phone. Nobody can lie telling that it will be your spouse or yourself or or your deity which you do, but deity which you pray, but it's usually your phone. So all your basic functions are tied to technology. Your basic functions, including eating, sleeping, even your to the level of reproduction, social, everything has been dwelled into by technology. Eating, namely, you can start mentioning from your food delivery apps, your food tracking apps, your fasting apps, diet apps, Healthify, you let me know. And sleeping, starting from basic alarms in your phone to sleep tracking apps. Your basics, your reproductive ability is also being modified by technology using these dating apps and matrimonial apps. And obviously your social life is has become totally digitalized through Instagram and Facebook. So technology in today's world has gone deep into even your basic instincts. So what does it finally mean? Your technology has delved so deep. What does it finally imply to us? What does it signify? The physical and the digital world are inseparable. You can't say that I am completely non-digitized or a-digitized. Your digitization or your technology has touched every part and parcel of your soul and body. So finally, the behaviors in either world affects the other. There is no running away from it unless you are in North Sentinel Island. Okay, you are there with technology everywhere. So what do we need to do? A delicate balance needs to be maintained between the physical and the digital worlds on a day-to-day basis. This balance is quite essential because too much time in either of you can make you less productive in the fast-changing world. For instance, you spend more time in physical world, you'll be away from your phone, computer, laptops, mail, etc., etc. You miss out on your work-related demands. However, if you spend more of digital time, you miss out on your personal space and time. That can lead to multiple relationship issues, IPR issues with interpersonal relationship issues with your family and your near and dear. Okay, so till now we have spoken more of a conceptual manner. Let's see what the numbers really say. Statistically, in India, the number of internet users by 2025, that is just 2 years from now, will be 900 million. Okay, so our usage of internet has surpassed almost all living nations in the world. And our internet penetration rate, that is how much internet has penetrated the rural population, it goes up to 47%. That is half the population. And mobile cellular connections, though it may not be indicating a pakka technology like smartphone or anything, it is also a proxy indicator of how much technology has reached into today's world. So there will be around 1.14 billion cellular connections. There is 1.14 billion cellular connections at the start of 2022. Since we had gone through a pandemic now, all your comparisons will be going pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID. After COVID, there has been a 51% surge and increase in the internet use, especially with respect to online transactions. And obviously, social media usage has gone way above, and it has increased by 4.2% between that particular year of 2021 and 22. That is your COVID second wave, first end and second wave start. So what does this indicate? The more time you have with you alone, apart from work, lockdown, and all these things have contributed to an increased usage of technology in the form of phones and internet. Okay, so that concludes the first part of the presentation. So we have seen how much technology has grown into this world, how much it really matters as per numbers. Now we are going to see how much it has impacted the younger population, because our speech today is going to be associated with younger population predominantly, that is university students. Over 85% of individuals belonging to 18 to 25 years have a smartphone and access to internet in India. COVID lockdown made sure that this was done, because most of the youngsters, college students, as well as adolescents in the higher secondary school age group had to use mobile phones in order to access their academic demands. So online classes and everything made sure that people start using phones in your day-to-day activities. Okay. And a major share of smartphone and internet usage in India, which was previously seen as 47% internet penetration rate, majority was by the younger population. However, the most interesting thing is, yes, we use smartphones, we use technology day in and day out, you use laptops, everything. However, the computer literacy rate in India is still way behind the average of other countries. Computer literacy makes assessments based on your usage in various domains of your computer. In that aspect, apart from your video, seeing your video, sharing, and all these things, computer literacy is quite lagging in India on other domains. Okay, so now we have seen how technology is there in our day-to-day activities in our world. It has dwelled deep, etc., etc. Now moving on to the most proverbial question: good versus bad. So initially, we'll see how technology is good in various aspects. Technology, to be frankly put, has made life quite easy for students, especially for students. Why? From this, it has become to this. Imagine yourself, you're a college student. Since I am being from a medical background, I have around 3 standard textbooks for for one subject, and many other simple books for me to understand the subject. So consider me carrying all these textbooks to my room and writing notes, and suddenly I forget in which place that point was taken, and I start going through the whole notes again. So now things have come to one single device, which is an iPad or tablet, where multiple collections of books, n number of books can be stored, and you also have a search option. You can copy it, you can use a notebook, you can sketch it up, you can prepare your own notes, anything you want. You can even prepare presentations and PowerPoints from this tab using all these references. So technology has made life quite easy for students in this regard. Also, a very crowded classroom, no place to sit, students suffer. Everything was there prior to technology, and now it has moved to smart classrooms. And there is quite a lot of emphasis on asynchronous presentations. A typical example is the session that we are having now. Now we are having a hybrid session, which is due to technology only. I have physical people listening to me here. I'm looking through the camera and I'm speaking with you. So all these things have been made by possible by technology. From boring, abstract textbooks, big textbooks, reading through lines, falling asleep, snoozing every 15 minutes, and then getting up points, we have moved to interactive online classes. We have n number of online classes now, learning management systems, online courses, upskilling. Everything has happened in a big rush over the past years, especially increased by COVID. So this is how technology has made life quite easy. Now, let's move on to the bad part. I would like to get answers for this image. Anyone can reply what it is? Any ideas, guesses? A type in the chat box is also fine, or replying through audio is also fine. Any guesses? Quite a common phenomenon. We would have done this many times. Okay, so since I'm not getting much answers, this is called as phubbing, P-H-U-B-B-I-N-G. Phubbing is an act of snubbing a person via chat box. Yeah, is there any responses in chat box? No interest. Okay, so I think everyone is kind of zooming me or something like that. So you don't respond to the other person, an act of snubbing via phone. That is called as your phubbing. So this is one quite annoying online or a digital behavior. What is phubbing? It's an act of ignoring others in favor of phone usage. In simple terms, snubbing via phone is phubbing. But many people do that, right? Do we need to be really worried about this particular behavior? Yes. Fubbing tends to have a very positive relationship, a high relationship with smartphone addiction. Smartphone addiction is a form of behavioral addiction, which we will be discussing in later slides. But this fubbing behavior tends to quite often happen in people with smartphone addiction. People who are smartphone addicted tend to look at their phones quite often. They have the fear of missing out. So they frequently start seeing for notifications and checking it. So at that time, they don't tend to have that proper social etiquette, like, speaking with people, you look away from them, you don't maintain eye contact. Those things are gone from their social interaction. So you tend to have this kind of fubbing behavior. And it is mediated by fear of missing out. You have the fear of missing out from these activities which is happening online. An increased level of loneliness contributes to this fubbing behavior, and a lot of social media comparison. I post a message, he posts a post or something, and how much replies do I get? How much likes I get? So such kind of a social comparison orientation is affected. It leads to this fubbing behavior. Okay. Since I had mentioned about smartphone addiction, it is a form of behavioral addiction. Just for the sake of understanding better, let me tell you what is behavioral addiction. Addiction is something you get addicted to. That's simple, right? You have alcohol addiction, smoking addiction, etc. So we have certain behaviors which tend to become more addictive. One such behavior, for example, I can say gambling, which is a behavior. It becomes quite addicted. We are receiving multiple reports about gambling behavior and laws against that. We have been seeing it in the past, and multiple such behaviors can be a addiction. Similarly, our smartphone usage is also a behavior which can get addicted. So everybody uses phone on a daily basis. What differentiates people from a normal usage of phone to a addiction of smartphone? There will be an increased craving to use smartphone, without which you can't be. The individual experiences such increased amount of craving. If you, they won't be able to sit without using a mobile phone. And when you detach that mobile phone from them, you don't get a typical withdrawal symptoms like you get in an alcohol or smoking, like tremors, all these things. But you get a lot of dysphoria, irritability, frustration, sadness. All these things you get with when you are withdrawn from this phone. And definitely, there is a concept of loss of control over intake, which happens in addicted individuals. They want to start with a quantity, and they go beyond that. They lose control over that intake. Similarly, that intake can be compared with the usage of phones in such individuals. So smartphone addiction is true, it is existent. Though it has not come into our regular practice of using it, it is still a thing to watch out for. I would like to share how this smartphone addiction is affecting individuals. This particular study is very close to me because I was part of the study. We had done this way back in 2019, where this prevalence of smartphone addiction was assessed using a scale which was developed in Korea. We found that there was around 44.7%. That is nearly half of the medical students screened at that time. And further, this smartphone addiction was quite prominently associated with poor sleep quality. So this is one study which have been replicated. The findings of this study has been replicated multiple times in future studies, and this is something which we need to worry about. So poor sleep quality will automatically reflect in poor quality of life, poor academic performance, etc., etc. So what else do we get? We get quite a lot of depressive symptoms. And these depressive symptoms were predicted by increased smartphone addiction tendency especially during the COVID-19 period. COVID-19, you're already in lockdown, you are not able to get to your classes. Among students is what I'm saying. Not able to get to your classes, you are unsure about your future, academic performance, everything. And that also triggers quite a lot of depressive symptoms. And these depressive symptoms were significantly increased or predicted by your smartphone addiction. Further, this depressive symptoms also predicted the change in smartphone addiction usage and levels of hope among such individuals. So it's a bidirectional relationship. Depressive symptoms already present, worsened by smartphone addiction, and however, how this individual is using the smartphone is being influenced by depressive symptoms. So it becomes a vicious cycle. Only neck-related disorders were more prevalent among individuals with smartphone addiction. And we have found that neck text posture, the way you are holding your neck and the texting posture was also a predictor of neck pain in such individuals. So both psychological and physical symptoms were present in smartphone addiction. Okay. Another trivia. So any guesses? Physical, chat box, digital responses. Any guesses what kind of behavior this is?
Sir, the lady feels that she's worried and she's anxious that she's lost something, which is her phone. But when looking at the picture, we feel that it's like something which is very important. But then it turns out like it's only her phone, and she's like really happy.
I'm happy that you mentioned that it's only a phone. Even I get too tensed if I miss out my phone. Actually, there is a name for this behavior, ma'am. That is what I wanted to impress upon. This behavior is called nomophobia. Nomophobia. To simply put it, no mobile phone phobia. That is, you get afraid that you are being detached from your mobile phone connectivity. That is what happens. Many of us would have experienced that. Many a times we would suddenly miss our phones and we'll be like, oh, I would have got this call, my HOD would have called me, this person would have called me, and I get really panicky, right? So when this happens on a sustained basis, it happens on a day-to-day basis, you call it as a nomophobia. So people tend to have a fear of being detached from your mobile phone connectivity. Many terms come in day in and day out in literature, but this condition has been mentioned quite a lot of time in the past 5 to 10 years, but it was quite often neglected. But many studies have revealed, even an Indian study revealed that 75% of the participants were moderately nomophobic. That is, they had excessive fear that they would be let out or detached from their mobile phones. Next question for guessing. And the question is not what is the game. Many people who would have played this recognize that this is Mario, the game of infinite levels. So from that it has come to this. The gaming industry has reached quite a lot of levels. It has penetrated so deeply. You can start seeing games in your mobile phones even for ages 1 to 3. So such games are also existent now, and this is how gaming has moved from. I remember the days when I was pleading with my parents to play for 1 hour, that too during my summer vacation. But now kids start playing even at this kind of age. So yes. The disorder that we are going to talk now is about internet gaming disorder. So like the previous diagnosis, like smartphone addiction, fubbing, nomophobia, the previous terms were all in construct. It has not been validated by any classificatory system like ICD-11 or DSM-5 or DSM-5 revision. But this disorder was put up by DSM-5, which is a psychiatric diagnostic classification system, even way back. The 5th edition had come nearly 10 years back. So how do they define internet gaming disorder? IGD, a persistent and recurrent use of internet to engage in games. It often leads to academic failure and school refusal. There is a decreased interest in socializing activities and often contribute to loneliness. This should happen over a period of around 12 months to say that this individual is suffering from internet gaming disorder. One study which was quite interesting was this study because it assessed those incoming first-year university students. That is where we tend to meet these counterparts at the earliest point, right? So such incoming first-year students who meet the criteria for internet gaming disorder tend to have increased academic and social impairments during their first year and also in the subsequent years. They say that early intervention in such individuals addressing their internet gaming disorder, like behavioral interventions per se, can lead to better outcomes in such individuals. So that gives us a point like earlier you start intervening in such individuals, the better is your outcome. Okay. Next trivia. Guesses? Chat box, any guesses? Yeah, I have one of my recipient who told the one of the person who is there here physically telling me the answer. It's binge watching. How is binge watching defined? I'm sure that many of you won't agree with the first definition because every one of us does that. You know, watching 3 or more episodes on the same TV of the same TV series in a single sitting. Who doesn't do that? Saturday you are relieved, Sunday you are relieved. You have a very lazy Sunday morning. You start watching a series and it becomes quite interesting. Many series are like that, right? So, but the concept is still new and there is a lot of revisions for that, a lot of corrections and revisions coming for this definition. But currently this definition holds good. To watch 3 or more episodes of the same TV series in a single sitting. There is quite a lot of difficulties in using this definition because some TV series episodes are just 10 minutes, some last for even 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So it is still under construct, but the thing that we need to note is there is a recent surge in binge watching behaviors due to proliferation of OTT platforms. If you see, at the time of COVID or even prior to that, the OTT streaming platforms were quite limited. I can recollect only Netflix, to some extent HBO Max or something like that. In India, I don't think there was much OTT content you can store in your DTH and see. But nowadays, if you take the number of indigenous OTT platforms, it is innumerous. Every app has developed their own OTT platform and they have started streaming original at home, same. Loneliness, decreased social interaction. Which is your recompense? You go to OTT platforms. So is it dangerous? Like I'm watching this only during my free time. I spend my free time by watching this rather than going outside. So is it really dangerous? If you ask me, yes. Binge watching behaviors have been assessed quite a lot in the recent past, and it has been always found to be assessed with emotional dysregulation, sometimes leading up to even depression. There is an increased social interaction anxiety is there, feelings of loneliness, and especially this last one, daytime sleepiness. Like the picture tells you, the lies I tell myself. Just one more episode. How many of us have told this at 12 o'clock or midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning? I have done. So I have watched multiple episodes of OTT series in the night, and obviously the next day morning you get quite sleepy, and the next day morning you have to drive and come to your work. You take permission of 1 hour, and then you know that you have already exhausted 1 hour of permission multiple times. So finally you get a lot of difficulties. How about in students? This daytime sleepiness in students have resulted in skipping of morning classes. The first hour class or the second hour class are being frequently skipped by students because of this particular behavior. If you ask me, is it going to an addiction level? The construct is still developing, but definitely it is a problematic behavior and that needs to be addressed. Okay. Many would not again agree with me. Your FDAs, not our FDA, it's a food delivery app, FDAs. So what happens in this food delivery apps? Yes, rather than going and standing in a hotel in queues and collecting food, I just open my phone, I order, and the person wearing orange or red color shirt comes and gives it to me at my doorstep, and I don't even pay them a penny. So there is an emerging evidence for dysregulated or disordered eating behaviors with this increased proliferation of FDAs. And what happens is that whenever you go to hotel, when you order or you socialize, you be with other people and then you eat with them, that orders your behavior to some extent. You don't go for exorbitant foods, you don't indulge in self-satisfying foods. This increased app usage has been associated with a lot of loneliness, negative mood, and that indirectly reflects on your greater body dissatisfaction. When you start having thoughts about this body dissatisfaction, it leads to a lot of restrictive eating, and finally, in turn, it results in overeating. It goes in a cycle. So, yeah. I think the Harry Potter geeks would have got the message. I'll go to the next slide. Then finally, I will a disclaimer clause prior to starting this is females, please accept my apologies. This is not my study. It has been found that those people who are having compulsive shopping or buying tend to be predominantly females who have a very positive attitude towards online shopping, and they do online shopping quite frequently. This is not me. You can call up this fellow and give your blessings. What is compulsive shopping? Chronic repetitive purchasing that occurs as a response to negative events or feelings. So you have a kind of a compensating behavior. Many a times you would have done that, right? You feel very bad and surreptitious or serendipitously you order something that comes back to you, and that time you see and you feel happy when you get a new dress or when you get a new item or anything, right? So this tends to become a behavior loop. So whenever you feel low, you open up your online shopping apps. It may be anything. You buy something, and when that comes back, you feel really happy. And this study has shown that this kind of compulsive and compensative buying happens especially in online. It amounts to around 3.6 and 16.9 respectively compared to non-online shoppers. So obviously, you don't tend to go out and then stand in queue and buy something. You tend to buy it online. Okay. There is another concept in this online or compulsive shopping, your online shopping addiction tendency. There has been a study done on student stress, your academic hassles, personal issues, negative life events, and your this OSAT, online shopping addiction tendency scores. It found that a combination of high level of stress and lack of complete social support increases the likelihood of developing OSAT, that is online shopping addiction, in academic circles, especially in students. So the more stress and lack of support leads to a combined effect on your online shopping addiction. Okay, so we have talked about the good, we have talked about the bad, and let's see how we can take this forward. So like I mentioned, without technology, you're going to stand still, nothing is going to go forward. The way forward is promoting awareness regarding healthy smartphone use. So how do you often would have heard about having a healthy diet, having a healthy physical activity levels. We need to also, since smartphone has come into our life, we need to have a healthy smartphone use also. So how do you do that? 4 main things is what is possible at the immediate time point. One thing is decreasing your screen time. Second is postural education to avoid physical strain, phone usage monitoring apps, and finally, some digital detox regimens. If you ask me whether I have tried all these things, yes, I have tried all these 4 things. And I have found it to be definitely better than not trying any one of this. So let's discuss about decreasing screen time. Many smartphone companies, due to their corporate responsibility or whatever they call so, have created these options, which will be there hidden inside your phone somewhere, but it will be definitely there. So such kind of decreasing screen time digital well-being programs are there in your computer, there in your phone, which gives your feedback on phone usage. There is this do not disturb options. When you are working in your office, you don't get distracted by Instagram notifications or Facebook notifications. You have do not disturb options. You have this particular Zen mode, especially for OnePlus users. There are many locking apps. You can download this and you can lock that particular app, and you can say that if you try it even once, it gets locked 10 minutes more, such things. And finally, which can be done quite conveniently, is you use different phones for your work and personal time. Okay, your work phone gets switched off at the time your work gets over, and your personal phone gets started once you get back. Okay, so different phones for work and personal really helps, because you don't carry your work to your home, and finally your family members are not furious at you. Postural education. There are n number of certified official videos from many institutes who say that this is the posture that you need to maintain. You have an upright posture when you stand, and don't lean down, bend down, and cause strain on your neck as well as your back. So proper postural education for individuals. Your work posture, have a proper chair with a proper seating arrangement. After that, going to phone usage monitoring apps. There are many apps available in App Store. Ironically speaking, you need to go back to your mobile phone in order to monitor usage of mobile phones. So there are many such apps, Your Hour, Social Fever, Break Free. There is this FamiSafe app, which is quite famous now these days. You can even use it to track multiple devices within your family. The usage of phones of your issues and wards, all these things can be done. I specifically prefer this particular app. I have used it. I've taken quite a few screenshots of my phone usage. It's not that visible. I'm happy for that. So you have the number of clicks that you have done, number of time that is left that you can use. It tells you which app was used most commonly and what was your total duration of usage. Many such things. For instance, WhatsApp and Spotify are the ones that I have used quite frequently. And it gives your phone usage levels, the time graph. It tells me what time, at what time I have been using it. And it's from morning 7 to 9 a.m. That is the time when I get a lot of WhatsApp messages from my department. And the peak usage time. And after that, it gives you a scoring. It tells you whether you are addicted, dependent, habitual. It gives you a score. It gets you a feeling that you try to achieve something. It gives you a feedback that at what level you are and what level you aspire to be. And they have quite a lot of challenges too. They have this dieting challenge of Instagram, WhatsApp, multiple things. So you can go on with dieting challenges, and they give you badges also. Digital badges, obviously, they don't give you money for not seeing your phone. So digital badges, which you can obviously again go back and share in the social media platform which you are trying to get away from. So such apps are quite there. And digital detox regimen. What is this digital detox? Like how you abstain from a substance like alcohol, smoking, you detox your body. Similarly, a digital detox is something for your mental peace as well as to your brain in a way. A digital detox is a period of time when a person voluntarily refrains from using digital devices. Please note the term voluntarily. It is something that you take it up. You customize it as per your individual requirements. And it definitely claims to have potential physical as well as mental health benefits. So what are such benefits? It reduces your fear of missing out. This fear of missing out has been noted in many instances on digital behaviors of individuals. It reduces this FOMO. Once this FOMO is reduced, you tend to have better socialization skills, reduce loneliness, reduce depressive symptoms and anxiety symptoms. It allows for a more positive life perspective. It helps you maintain work-life balance, improves your sleep habits. That is the most prominent one. And it reduces your stress. So digital detox really helps. It is customized. You take it as per your wish. A Sunday, it's been 2 weeks. You want a complete digital detox. Move away from your phone. Have a detox for 12 hours to 1 day. Resume it back on Monday. Obviously, you will feel the benefits. So there are a few apps for that also. Digitox, Cleverest, Off the Grid, but apps are secondary. The digital detox regimen is customized, is as per your requirements and as per your needs. Okay. After all this discussion, I would like to conclude with a few concluding remarks. The impact of technology on an individual's life is far-reaching, especially in younger population. Judicious use of technology is warranted in day-to-day life. There is no going back on it. Behavioral addictions through technology is increasing day by day as the years go by, and providing a timely feedback regarding technology use is quite essential. And further, when you get such an individual, early recognition and treatment can go a long way in improving the outcomes of the individual, not only the individual per se, it ultimately reflects on the community as well as the nation. Thank you. So, thank you for your patient listening. I'd like to answer any questions or queries with my best of ability, if there are anything.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Vignesh, sir. So for the wonderful presentation. We'll be open up a discussion now. So I'll post the case Vignet also in the morning. So people can start sharing the chat box and provide your valuable suggestions and inputs. And if any queries can be posted in the chat box. So Dr. Vignesh and other committee members will be here to discuss you. Okay. I'll open here.
Oh my God. I would request Dr. Vimal to read out the paragraph, please.
Okay. So Dr. Vignesh, thanks for your nice presentation. Is there any research available on the impact of LMS usage by students on their perceived well-being and mental health?
Sir, that's quite a specific question, sir. Definitely the impact of LMS usage on their academic performance is well founded. That is why we have quite a lot of LMS apps in there. Canva, Moodle, everything is there. But a direct correlation between such an academic venture and their perceived well-being and mental health, I don't think I have gone through any such literature, sir. But that is definitely the next step. LMS is intended to improve your academic performance and give them adequate space. So definitely well-being and mental health is supposed to improve. We can definitely work on that regards. Okay. Thanks. On a lighter vein, yes, sir.
So I welcome Dean sir for joining this session, sir. And on a lighter vein, I remember reading this somewhere. Earlier there used to be heaven and hell. These days they are called online and offline. Not sure of this resources. And Dr. Vignesh, apart from absolute time spent on research, looked into the association between the actual type of online activity and one's well-being. For example, academic inspirational videos on YouTube versus watching OTT content versus streaming of therapeutic music versus work-related email, etc.
Okay, sir, there has been no head-to-head comparison, sir, but I can tell you a number of research has looked into individual behaviors. For example, gaming types of games used by internet gaming disorder individuals or game addicted individuals. There has been definitely a difference between such individuals. Those individuals who are having gaming genre like more of violence, shooting and such kind of genres tend to have more levels of depression, anxiety. It has been reported. So individually, yes, within gaming genres, yes. But a head-to-head comparison between the type of content across videos or across OTT content, we have not seen any research, sir. As far to the best of my knowledge, yes.
And is there a message for academic and institutional administrators regarding steps that can be taken at the admin level to protect their employees and students from the adverse effects of online device use in terms of policy, rules, etc.?
I have to reply in in a diplomatic way since I have Dean sir with me. So advice, is there a message? Yes, sir. Sir, as a policy, like I can tell you what I have done in order to protect my work-life balance. Like you would have recollected, I had requested you to give me a separate, work and personal mobile phones. I had given you another number which will be used for my work life. So you had also supported me on that regards, to which I'm extremely thankful. And I think it is already starting to show effects. I am much relieved in that regard. I can tell you as a personal experience, yes, a separate mobile number or access like mail, phone numbers, everything can be separate for work and personal life. Apart from this online device use, for students, if you ask me, yes, online mobile use, online phone use or tablet use is quite essential for students in this day of learning, but the appropriate time and duration, that is what, like when they are attending physical classes, it's a definite no. So those policies, I think it's already in place, sir.
Okay. And a message from Dr. Jaffrin. Hi, Dr. Vignesh. Congratulations on the good presentation. Are there any softwares for parents to track the internet usage for their children? Are there any organizations like Alcohol Anonymous for alcohol for internet addiction?
Thank you, sir. Dr. Jaffrin and I share quite a long relationship. He was my faculty in pharmacology during my UG time. Thank you, sir. And the chat box one. Okay.
Hi, Vignesh.
Hi, sir.
It was a nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir.
It is a proud moment for me also.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, there are softwares for parents to track internet usage among their children, sir. The first thing is we need to make sure whether the first easiest and possible step is you don't give mobile phone to your student to your children. The second step, you had given it due to some academic pressures. The first thing is any of these apps, no, sir, which I had mentioned, like your so any of these apps which I have mentioned already, such apps can automatically track your phone usage, the phone that has been given to your kids. Once you log in with a particular ID, it starts storing it in your cloud. So the usage never goes off. Nobody can manipulate that. So they are very firm in that regard. So, and also there is this particular FamiSafe app or software which helps you track phone usages across multiple mobiles. So it is definitely there, sir. FamiSafe is a quite prominent app which is coming up. And yes, FamiSafe, sir. And sir, like you in your second question, sir, there is organizations for AA, for alcohol, for internet. Yes, sir, it is there. But like mentioned, it is predominantly effective and quite properly managed in Western countries. In Indian setting, we don't have a very structured, proper organizations as such, sir. In our part of the country, especially. Most of them come to us psychiatrists, and we try to help them. That is how things go on here. But there are a lot of online self-help groups, sir. Many people go to that and then only come back. So since there also technology plays a role, so once you are online, you can connect with anyone all over the world in these support groups and share in their forum discussion.
Okay. I tried one software called Boomerang.
Okay, sir.
But the Kaspersky antivirus says it is a virus. So we have to be careful. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Kaspersky or any other antivirus software for that regard, sir, tries to prevent any software which tries to extract information about your usage. So one possible thing is in Kaspersky, you can select ignore option for this particular website or this app, sir. That's one thing which we can try. Sir.
Okay. Thank you, Vignesh. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And so thank you, sir. I request Dr. Vignesh to sit over the chair, please.
Sure. Thank you.
And Dr. Karthik has asked, are there any apps or web-based modules to initiate and maintain salutogenesis among students in a university, like apps for salutogenesis?
Yes, sir. Actually, if you ask me as a concept for salutogenesis, is there such an app? I would say I don't think it has been developed yet. But on various domains of salutogenesis, like mental health promotion, well-being, in those domains, we have multiple apps. For example, you would have noted many apps in your while you are going through Play Store, sir. There is Calm, there is White Noise. Multiple apps like that are there, which can boost your mental health and well-being. And many of the apps that I had already mentioned too is in a way promoting health and well-being for individuals. Maybe being that a nice idea, I can propose to the salutogenesis committee over here to develop an app which will be quite helpful for us. Thank you, sir. That was a very valid question. We'll take it up further.
I think Dr. Avdepan suggests, in other words, administrators should not bring work into the personal time of employees.
In essence, I completely agree with you, sir.
So one more. This is a madam asked, is there any app to track the students when the class is going on?
Is there any app to track the students? Ma'am, I would suggest if you're taking it, I presume that you take online session, no, ma'am? If it is so, I would suggest ask them to switch on their video. That is one thing. Rest of the thing is they can, you can, it's not completely possible, ma'am, entirely possible to track where students are at the time when an online session is going on. But once in a time, you know, you pick out randomly individuals and ask them questions, and at least they should be saying yes, ma'am, right? So if we get that, then I think we can track them. There is no app as such to track the students' movement during the class, ma'am. Online, offline too. Ma'am, you will be there and say the class. I don't think anybody can let to go. We can close the room, ma'am.
So the participants can go through the case Vignet and they can share their suggestions in the chat box. So I may read once again. So Miss Y, 19 years, was an average academic performer at school. She secured 80% marks in class 12. She qualified through NEET exam and joined MBBS in a private medical college far from home. She received a mobile phone from her parents soon after joining the course so that she can talk to them on a daily basis from her hostel. Parents were happy that she too was keen on staying connected with them. Ms. Y was glad too about the arrangement. During the compilation of formative assessment and attendance data, her poor performance was noticed by the first year departments. Her parents were contacted for a discussion about her performance. Initially, they didn't respond. After repeated reminders, they came in person to have a discussion with the institute admin. A detailed discussion was held. It was divulged by the parent that she was using her mobile phone till late in the night and was not able to wake up in time to attend the morning classes. In addition, she was unable to focus on her studies. She had also been behaving erratically with her parents. In-house counseling service was offered, but it was not accepted by the student and her parents. So please analyze and discuss this situation. Please give your opinion regarding what has gone wrong and what strategies can be adopted to solve the problem and help Ms. Y. So you can put in the chat box.
Hello, Manimegli here.
Yes, ma'am.
She should be made to realize that she is deteriorating in her performance. Then she has to take her own decision of withdrawing from the phone, and to help her, she can be made like group discussions, or with friends she can sit and study. She has to keep her mobile phone in the room and she can share the room with some other person while studying. This is what I feel.
Thank you, ma'am. So other participants can put it in the chat box, or if you want, you can. So Dr. Sovna ma'am on she counseling on positive coping strategies.
Manimekala ma'am,
Yes, sir.
can you repeat what you told once again?
I told the student has to be made realized that she is deteriorating in her performance because of the phone addiction, sir. And she has to take free decision on her own decision. She has to voluntarily withdraw from the phone. And she can keep to improve in her performance. she has to keep the phone in her room and she can sit with some other friend's room and study to improve. If she wants, it is her own decision to improve, sir. She has to decide to get improved.
How you want her to realize that she is deteriorating because of phone? Who should take that responsibility to make her realize that phone is the reason for her academic deterioration?
Faculty, her friends, her parents, all has to play a role, sir.
Okay. Any other response is there?
Dr. Leena suggested digital detox, slowly reduce hours of use of mobile, encourage social interaction, and so along with the help of mentor. So what does it mean? Like what mentor has to do? Can you clarify on this, ma'am?
No, I think Madam has mentioned, since the deans are asked, no, who has to make her realize she is deteriorating. For that, I think she has mentioned as mentor.
Okay, okay.
Sir, can I speak, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I mentioned mentor, like Madam specified. So actually, student can be one way taken to the mentor, and mentor can give a comparison how she performed well in her NEET and what she was doing that time, how she was studying. All those things can be reflected back, and what is their present her performance like that, and why she has deteriorated like that. We can ask her to reflect on her own itself.
Okay.
To make her realize.
Okay.
And she can be given a choice that without mobile, she can be given a choice. She can study for some time along with other students and to see her performance. And we can counsel her how she improved. So I think reflection makes a crucial role in this.
Yeah, as you rightly pointed it out, as you know, like everybody has to play a role, like starting from what Dr. Manimekhalai Madam was telling, starting from the parents, mentor, administrator, but finally the student has to realize what was the wrong. Like, because as you know, like if you analyze the present situation, definitely no student is without a phone. Even they come to the class also with a phone. Taking like I think everybody must have noticed there, those who are having a adolescent boy, like 24, I think even during the sleep also mobile will be there by the side of the pillow. They don't leave the mobile at all. So in that sense, I don't, because as you know, again, here main problem is that students, usually we are talking about the student who stays in a hostel, and that type of what you can say continuous 24 hours monitoring the screen time and all these things is very, in practical sense I'm talking about, very difficult to monitor that, keeping the mobile from away from them and asking them to study. What I have observed, like it is like what is many times you might have noticed, suppose you as a parents, you restrict your student your words away from the screen time and all these things, they prefer to go to their friend's house and they access those sites or the gadgets which is prohibited in your house. That has happened, and in that way what they develop, the students, when say the children, they develop avulsion towards the parents, that they are getting all this facility, why I am not getting the facility from my parents. So in that way, that is, I'm telling you my observation and the interaction with the other parents also. Like in that way, the distancing, is the distance between the parents and the children, the differences increases. So it's a very basic, as you know, there is no immediate solution to it, unless it is started from the house itself, because now the observation is that When the baby cries, you show the mobile to baby. That is what to make the baby quiet. And babies are also happy. In fact, recently I had been to one of our national conference where thousands of delegates were there, and in that conference, I saw one baby of maybe less than a year, and in a cradle with a mobile, without any parents. Just imagine the situation we are dealing with now. So unless it has to be started from the at house, whatever said and done, whatever app and all these things, basically, as you know, we'll forget our role as a parents. Will be monitoring them throughout the 24 hours. And Daniel, I don't know what all we need to do to prevent them from handling this situation, right? So it's a really complex situation. You cannot leave without mobile. At the same time, we know like every instrument is devised to make us what you can say comfortable, but everybody should understand the limitations, how to use it properly. So that has to be done in the house itself. And when they come here, everybody knows that what you can say, they think that they got the freedom to do and all these things. And that is not and as you know, like as a faculty, as a mentor, still then I don't know how much they interact with us with that intention to get advice regarding the proper utilization of the mobile and all these things. I don't think so. They don't know. Even if they know, sometimes they get addicted to it, and they just cannot leave that mobile, right? So it's really difficult situation. We have quite a lot of situation like that we have faced, and that is how what you can the case scenario is also based on our experience only. So that's what we know. Like as you suggest, okay, mentors are there to make her realize. Madam told, okay, mobile kept away from her. Any other suggestions can we is there anything is there in the chat box? Any other suggestions?
Like Dr. Lena suggested, track which platforms student is using and then counsel accordingly.
Which one?
Track the students, which platforms they are using, and then counsel accordingly.
Yeah, as you know, like what you can say, I'm telling you, like we have a system of tracking the internet user in the hostel. We get the daily attendance, daily record based on that one. We see most of the time the platform they are using is the social media. That is what. But after that, what? After that, what can we stop those things? If you stop those things, even if students are using internet for the social media, they'll say that suppose, because as you know, the LMS system what we are using is also based on the internet, then they will say the internet is not working. So it's very we can track, but after tracking restriction, the what you can say restriction of that platform and all these things can be done, but we'll get the complaint in different way that we are not able to access the LMS, we are not able to do any online assessment, even if that does not require that type of platform. So this is practical problem we have faced. Any other thing?
I request Dr. Vignesh to suggest, like in your expertise opinion on this case Vignesh.
In that, hope I'm audible now. In that regard, ma'am, I think there are two key points which we need to note here. One thing is this internet usage and smartphone usage is is like I mentioned, is a behavioral addiction. You know, monitoring behaviors continuously and doing it is like sir suggested is impractical, and keeping a complete fasting of these behaviors, you know, completely avoiding these behaviors is not going to happen. Like I said, technology is dwelled into your day-to-day activities. You cannot do that. The only thing here which is appropriate is harm reduction. So in order to for a candidate to for an individual to reduce the harm caused by this behavior, the first thing what they need to notice is that they are causing harm to themselves. For that, timely feedback needs to be given. So whenever a person with so-called smartphone addiction comes to me with their parents, the parents will always over-exaggerate and say, obviously, they'll say that he's always with phone. And this person will say, no, I'm using phone for only 10 minutes at a time. So where do you draw the line? How do you bridge the, the statements raised by these two, by the parent as well as the student? That is where your tracking apps come into play. What I suggest to that, what I ask that individual is that, are you really sure that you're using only 10 minutes or is it going beyond? Then at some point of time, you'll say, no, I don't keep a track of it. It may go beyond. So in that situation, I suggest, why don't you start tracking your behavior? You take control of that and install that particular app or a tracking app in his phone or iPad or whatever. And, give them a timely feedback a week or so. And tell them that, see, you are awake for 16 hours a day and you're using phone for nearly 4 to 5 hours. Then the remaining time which you have is 12 hours. So that kind of feedback does not happen in behavioral addictions to individuals. So once you start giving that, you create a discrepancy in that individuals between their thought and the reality, and hence the need for change. So once that need for change has been created in that individual, it will be quite easy for us to work on that. See, there will be different difficult patients, difficult students coming in, and they will be saying, like, even asking them why you are seeing phone during a class is also a breach of their independence and all these things. Definitely there will be difficult students, but once you create a need for change in such individuals, it may be both academically related, personal, or any domain that he wants to improve, which has been harmed because of this behavior. Once you give that need for change, definitely people will start accepting our viewpoint and maybe go along with this. Not our complete viewpoint, at least to a part, that there is something wrong here. That is the first thing. Second thing is, in that Vignet, ma'am, it has been mentioned that formative assessment has been provided. I think that formative assessment itself gives a clear picture of what kind of performance this individual is giving. And definitely the mentor as well as the person in charge of possibly the HOD who is giving the formative assessment of this individual can sit and discuss with this person and maybe create this particular need for change. And obviously, this is a skill, which all faculty need to develop, because this is not something which is going to happen only in one classroom. It is going to happen in all classrooms, starting from schools till college. So we need to develop that skill, ma'am. As there is a demand, both academically, when there is a demand, we develop ourselves to learn more and study more, research more. Likewise, handling students' behavior, we need to amp up our game. That is what I feel.
Thank you, sir. And also we have like at the end of the last session will be on the role of mentor, actually. So where the faculties will be speaking about the mentor roles, also about the student mental health. And Dr. Sivaprakash sir also suggested so they need to check whether the student in the Vignet is either lonely, homesick, or depressed. And I may ask Dean sir to to what has happened to this case actually. Can you discuss about this case?
Actually, what as Dr. Vignesh told, as you know, many of us are downloading the app to check how much steps we are using daily, how much sleep, all these things are available. So as Dr. Vignesh told, at least we can ask the student to download that type of app and track their screen time using to say that what he's saying, he's telling, and the reality, what's the difference is there. Then only, as you know, to finally making him realize is really difficult, right? So making him understand that this is the reason for the for her poor academic performance. That is the only way we can make her realize. And just to say that what happened basically this case. This case, in fact, I dealt personally, of course, because she was not neither the student nor the parents wanted to visit the local psychiatric department. That's why this department, she was not referred to either in our in-house student counselor or or psychiatric department. But anyway, because I was not the right person to refer them outside, so I had consultation with the department of the psychiatrist, and basically they are from the Bangalore. So definitely they told that NIMHANS is the best place to be referred to this type of patient and this type of student and the parents. And she was referred to NIMHANS. And in fact, they went to NIMHANS. They had psychological consultation there. And in fact, patient, she underwent de-addiction, in-hospital de-addiction rehabilitation there itself. And for months, it's not the days, months. And finally, she came out of that addiction. And because, as you know, like what Dr. Vignesh told, that not that totally she was not using the phone, but even if she was using the phone for restricted timing and all these things, suppose this happened with the supervision of their parents only, 24-hour supervision of the parents. And finally, she came and she completed the course. So we are happy that these are the options also available, right? So sometimes student goes into the addiction and come out of that addiction, and can positive outcomes are also there. And in fact, one of the renowned doctor from the Vellore, I'm not telling the name, his son is having also went into this type of addiction and could not complete one of the professional course, and now also he is not able to complete, right? So yes, it has everything has a happy ending, but sometimes, as you know, sometimes students fall prey of it and cannot come out of it. So this is what I just wanted to tell.
Thank you, sir. And to Dr. Vignesh, like, can you, do you have any evidence in the institute, like about the addiction behaviors?
Like I mentioned previously, we had done one study which I was a part of. It was a multi-center study which was done on smartphone addiction, and which revealed a higher prevalence of smartphone addiction among health university students. It was nearly 50%. It was 44.7 to be precise, and it was quite associated with sleep quality. And we have been generating evidence. We have been taking up projects under this. We are doing currently one study on binge watching addiction. There is one study which we are doing on social media adverse events. The plan is to see for adverse events like we see in day-to-day physical life, right? For instance, death of a closed one, or such kind of adverse events which happens in day-to-day life. Any such, can it be equated to some adverse event in the digital life? So we have a very interesting avenue where comparison of physical life responses to a digital life responses. So we are trying to see if there is any collaboration with it, and we are getting day in and day out evidence in clinical format, not completely hardcore research evidence, but we are seeing individuals on a day-to-day basis who come with multiple behavioral addictions. So evidence is increasing, and we are also working on it in the research standpoint.
So thank you, Dr. Vignesh. And we also had a experience in when I was doing our PG days. Like, we have seen a siblings rivalry over the gadgets. So they have siblings rivalry when they separate the gadgets. No, by the time the both children started developing a rivalries. So there are a lot of interesting cases on the gadget addictions actually nowadays. So the participants can open up their discussions if they have any doubts. Like they can also, like the non-medicos, the other teaching faculties can also share the experience on the phone addictions or the gadget addictions. If they have any experience, we can post in the chat box.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is to Dr. Vignesh, sir. There are a lot of apps you told, sir, to which look into mindfulness and well-being, wellness, and all that, but not many are successful. What do you think is the reason for that?
I think more of acceptance, ma'am. The thing is, whenever you open your phone, the first anticipation is that you want to see something, you get it immediately without the sense of delayed gratification. You do this particular activity and you get this at the long run. Na? That behavior, that kind of a feeling is going down in the current population. That is why many of these things are not effective. A person with a need for change and who is determined will definitely utilize these apps, ma'am. I can give a personal example from my experience. I have the method I told, na, like I give this app to one of the patients who are coming to me and ask them to record and get back. The success rate is nearly 50% only. People don't turn up. So on this 50%, some 25% come to the level of harm reduction. They reduce it. So it varies from individuals to individuals, ma'am. That is the thing. Many of these apps are not, if you ask me, if there are other logistic issues also. If you ask me meditation or, mindfulness based behaviors, if it is taught on a one-to-one basis, obviously the effectiveness would be very high. And we are going through an online system with an interface. So that also plays a major role. But those who are determined to change, and if we are able to support them and improve their determination, improve their motivation to change, such individuals, yes, ma'am, they do tend to benefit from this.
Okay, but then I don't know. It's just my opinion, sir. I feel when it comes to mental health, no, instead of banking on apps, I think it is better to have a human-to-human interaction. So I'm not really for apps when it comes to building up resilience or helping them in any possible
Completely
way.
agreed, ma'am.
Because what happens is, I think they just get more
yes,
addicted
please.
to the phone rather than to individuals. So when it comes to mental well-being, I think a personal interaction is a far better approach than the app. So I thought that would be one of the reasons why the apps fail.
Yes,
so if
actually,
the apps have to be
if
developed,
you
like
ask me,
for the current generation,
for sure, in-person consultation or in-person discussion is always above any online discussion, ma'am. It
yes,
is
sir.
my point also here,
But
my
now,
opinion
but now
also
the
here.
current
But the issue is we are not using apps to promote. That is a secondary thing, an adjunct or a additive thing. Definitely, once they are coming in person and they are coming out with their issues and problems, an in-person consultation with psychological counseling definitely helps. There is no second thoughts about that. This app that I had mentioned, that is one specific thing is for tracking. To help yourself. This behavior, it happens 24 hours round the clock. And this particular consultation which we do is going to happen only once in a week or once in 3 days. Quite a lot of logistic issues are there. This app can facilitate such kind of, that push which is required on a minute-to-minute basis. That is where these apps come into the play. The main concept and the how they need to change and all these things will be discussed in person. These apps will just facilitate that. That's all.
Okay.
Definitely using one particular app will never improve resilience. That is not going to happen at all.
I request Dr. Sivaprakash sir to add a point here.
Thanks, Dr. Vimal. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
This is actually in response to what Dr. Leena mentioned. Madam, I completely agree that apps definitely cannot replace human contact and contact with, a loved one or a caregiver. But in the recent conference that we had, we had an entire session. Actually, Dr. Vikas from JIPMA, he spoke about digital mental health initiatives. So one point that was highlighted there was that the World Health Organization has in recent years been talking a lot about treatment gap, which means we simply don't have enough resources and enough people to deal with all the psychological issues and problems that are going on. We actually need a lot more people, more human resources. So that is why sometimes it's not wrong to bring in these extra supporting strategies like apps, because we don't have enough people to deal with the issue. So that is one thing. We are narrowing the treatment gap. And the second point is, it is even better if these apps are connected to a therapist, which means that the the responses of that particular user as tracked by the app is also being monitored by a therapist or a trusted caregiver. So the person gets something like a digest on a daily basis, because a therapist can't be with a person 24/7. So whereas like a blood sugar monitor or a Holter monitor, the app can give a 24/7, view of the person's online behavior to a caregiver and therapist. So this I feel is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Actually, you raised a very valid point, sir, that even though there is an app, what really matters to the end user is how they benefit from it. So unless and until they get a suggestion or a feedback from a therapist, anything they track or anything which they enter into is just going to be data. So the key point is like what I was going to ask Dr. Vignesh is, how can we improve the apps? Because in this generation, it is invariable that everyone is going digital. So asking them to go and meet a counselor or a therapist may not really work due to various reasons. So if at all we have to develop an app, what are the things we should look for? So one of the things which you rightly pointed out, sir, is to make sure that there is a connection to a therapist. Any other things we should look for, sir, to develop an app?
Ma'am, can you repeat it, ma'am? It's not audible.
I think ma'am asked about enhancing these apps so that it
Yes,
is
enhancing
more
the
acceptable
apps
for the students.
to make it more
Yes, ma'am.
acceptable. Yes.
Actually, yes, ma'am. Actually, many of the recent apps for productivity or for enhancing these kind of behaviors, they move into gamification, ma'am. Gamification of a process or a behavior is actually quite enticing for individuals, because any generation, games are the thing which keeps one person entertained. So initially it could have been physical games, now it is more of digital games. So there are quite a few apps. I have tried a few. To say a few, Habitica is one app which gamifies your habit formation. So you want to get up early in the morning, you want to develop that habit, you create it as an habit, and as and when you do that on a daily basis, your character or your avatar starts getting points, and with that point you can build your character. So it's kind of it becomes a routine. It's a kind of a digital version of yourself. You try gamification, and that is the new work now. Whenever an app is being developed, you try to gamify it, make it more appealing to the individuals so that they don't leave that app. And if that app is used for proper purposes, like the productive behaviors, then I think we have achieved our goal. So that kind of a thing, and it should not be more, if you ask me, like app developers would be a better person to discuss about this, but more wordy apps, increase loading time, reading through paragraphs, those things people tend to wean out. It should be at your face. Once you click, it should come just like that. So that is what people tend to use it more, especially the younger population. Like I mentioned, delayed gratification is not there. That is what you do something and you get the reward later. People are not into that. You want it immediately seen. So that is where app developers are working, and it is working, and it is quite fruitful too. Many such apps are there. And there have been certain talks like, you try to gamify many things in your curriculum too. You, like levels in your curriculum, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, like that. You make it as level based. This is level 1, level 2, how it is in your game, and each test or anything can be one particular level, one boss level, something like that. So people are working in that regard, and maybe we will see quite a revolution in app developing based on gamification.
Okay, so have you used any of these apps in our
Yes,
students?
This app
in students?
Yes, on students, ma'am. Yeah, I've recommended it. One of the student used it, but the thing is, ma'am, the acceptance.
Which app, sir? Which app?
This Your Hour app for tracking, ma'am. This gamification app, I have tried this app called Habitica. That is for habit creation. I try it first before I start advising my patients or individuals to use it. So both the apps I found they deliver whatever that is needed to, even in the free version, because we can't expect them to, I just tell them you go buy the pro version or the paid version to get complete statistics. The basic version, which gives you most of the details which is required for me to work on that. For instance, it gives that 9 to 10 a.m. is the prime time that you're using, your mobile phones. And there's a particular app like, Instagram or something. I tend to tell them like, but at that particular point of time, you try to, analyze the area or the situation where you're using it. You are in your room alone and then you start using this. So I understand that these are the cues for that. You finish your class and come back to your hostel room at around 5 to 6 is the time that you use your phone maximum. So your queue is remaining in your hostel room or speaking or meeting someone in that place. So what I suggest is you come down on those cues. You try to leave early to play something so that that particular behavior loop is stopped. So those are the things which we can work with the help of these apps now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you all. Thank you all for the participants. If it is any queries or you can post in the WhatsApp group for the further discussions. So we'll close the session for today. The next session will be on Thursday, which will be on stress among the university students for both UG as well as PG students. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining, and thank you, Dr. Vignesh, for the session. So thank you, participants, for joining this session. Hope you had a good session today without any interruptions of audio visual disturbance. Thank you.